Thank you for your valuable time for today's webinar, and I would like to welcome all on behalf of Pocket HRMS team. So let's start the session. And before we start, so let me just tell you what we are going to introduce or what we are going to demonstrate today. It's a very exciting enhancement in our system, and I'm sure that it's going to be a game changer, and it's going to change the entire control of processing of payroll, which is one of the key component in HRMS tool or any HRMS system. Like in HRMS, I agree that there are different type of modules starting from recruitment to retirement, but one of the most important module is payroll. So wherein we all are very keen to process our payroll with accuracy and without any error, so that we can provide the salary, rather correct salary to all of our employees. So this is a AI based system which we have introduced, and you can say it's a machine learning also. So this is a phase one of smart payroll, or you can say it's a smart payroll processing tool. So which will help the HRs and the finance guy, so who are processing the payroll each and every month and want to process the payroll with accuracy. So let me brief you, and from where we came up with this kind of modules in the system. So the navigation is over here. So if you come down to this option called payroll utility, so let me tell you, this is live now. So you will get this smart payroll in each and every credentials, obviously in administrator's credential. So if you have created any user for your subordinates or for your team members, so you need to provide the rights from user security rights, right? So here is the module called smart payroll. So I can mark this as favorite. And if I come over here, so this is the new screen, so which we have introduced with regards to processing of payroll, or you can say the smart payroll option. The background of creation of this particular screen, or the introduction of smart payroll is like a way. So wherein in the single screen, we have tried to incorporate certain information, so which are key informations for an HR or administrator, who, or you can say the payroll manager, so he's responsible for processing of payroll, A. And B, so we all, so the HR, so what we are still doing, so after processing the payroll in a tool, it may be Pocket HRMS or it may be any other software to whom you are using. So here only we are concentrating on Pocket HRMS. After we process the payroll and generate the salary register or some other MIS report, so we are doing a parallel checking outside of the system. So we did a vivid analysis and very in-depth analysis with our valued clients, and we have asked them, so how they are checking the payroll, whether the payroll is accurate after processing the same from Pocket. So from there we get very interesting information. So we get certain clients, so they are processing the payroll from system, and they have a parallel XLS file, so where they are once again checking whether the process data is correct or not. There are certain clients, so they are checking each and every employee's payroll one by one, and apart from that they do have certain checkpoints. So like the count of employee, so they are taking the last count, the employee active employee count from last month, this month X number of employee joined, Y number of employee resigned. So likewise they check the count outside of the system and tallied the same with Pocket. So they are checking, so I have employees, say 100 employees, so who are under PF. I have 50 employees, so to whom I am deducting ESIC last month. So whether the same count is there or not, etc., etc. So these are the manual checking we usually do once we process the payroll, even before processing of the payroll also. So we have tried to incorporate a feature or functionality in our tool or in Pocket HRMS, which is smart payroll, and it's smart enough to provide this kind of counts, and we would try to eliminate this outside of a system activities, like after processing the payroll, checking the same with manual data, checking the salary data with XLS file, etc. So this is our key objective, and we would like to have a system so wherein you can rely completely on Pocket HRMS after processing of the same with the solid analytical tools and analysis, you will be able to get all those figures on your fingertip so that you will be confident enough the process or the payroll which we have processed this time from Pocket is completely error free, accurate, and you can straightforward disburse the same as and when required. So this is our objective, and to meet the same, our team has developed this tool, right? So I have already shown you the navigation. So let me just take you through the menus or the screen which we have. So here, if you see at the top, so we are showing the month details, like it's showing from the month of October, November, December, and so forth is showing January, February, or March. So if you wish, you can go back also, wherein you will be able to see the historical data. So let's concentrate on this field presently which we are showing right now. So here if you can see, it's showing for the month of November, it's showing as done. That means my payroll processing is done for the month of November, and my payroll is now locked, so it's showing a lock icon. And at the same time, certain key informations are there. So I can see for the month of November 2022, the gross salary of all of my employees are accumulated to 8822 899. And if I compare this amount with the amount of October, so there is a growth of 0.25%. So this kind of information you will get. Likewise, in the month of October, with regards to say September, so there is a growth of 2.51%. Similarly, so December payroll is presently going on. It might happen I'm having four categories. I have completed the payroll for three categories. So up to this, so there is a shortfall of 0.70%, and it's showing in different color and as a different flag. So likewise, so you need not to run any analytics wherever you would like to show the gross salary for the employees, and along with the same, you will be able to see the variance in terms of percentage in the screen itself. So likewise, January, February, March, we are yet to process. Similarly, it's showing pending. And once you log the payroll, so the lock icon will come over here, and even you can go ahead and do the locking and unlocking from the same screen itself. As an hyperlink is there, it will take you through there. Right, in the smart payroll, so this is the first option which we have incorporated, so wherein once you come down to the screen, you can get this information on your screen itself. Now here if you see, so this is the part so which was already there. These are the configured payroll process guide, so wherein we can go ahead and process the payroll. So this is basically the same old screen which we have in the payroll processing option. I can go ahead and process the payroll employee wise. That means I can go ahead and select couple of employees over here. If you wish to process the payroll, see category wise, that is also available. In this particular implementation, we have created three categories. If I select employee and process the payroll, that is available. So it was there in the earlier screen also, and this is for all employee, so I can go ahead and process the payroll for all the employees. Now the parameter screen is over here, therein I can select the month. So I'm going to process the payroll for the month of Jan, so I can select for the month of January all employee, and I can go ahead and do the processing. Now while processing, certain parameters options are there, like whether I want to process the payroll with employee, I can go ahead and select the same. With income tax, I can go ahead and select the same. So now we are on the verge of closing this financial year. So now we are going to process the payroll with proof. So here proof wise option is there. So these are the old option which were there in the system. Now this is check pending leaves and with separated employees. So these are the old option which is there, which we have incorporated. So herein once you come down to this option, you can select the required field, so which you are doing right now, and you can go ahead and process the payroll. Like just before processing the payroll, so this is a new insertion which is basically the perform or pre-processing check. So if we go ahead and do the perform pre-processing check, so then system will provide, now then system will provide certain option. So I will be able to see certain checkpoints. Now what happened, so once we start processing or once we do the configuration, so there may be certain issues or there may be certain mistakes from our side. So here system will prompt you the mistakes of which I have made. So I'll show you this on live also. So let us first show you the screen what we have incorporated. So here if you see in the earlier screen we had process and delete. So here we have introduced this option called reprocess. So sometime it's happened, so there is a change in the formula, right? So and you have already processed the payroll for the month of Jan or January. So now what we do in the earlier option, so I will do the changes in the configuration. For example, the percentage of something has changed, so I have done the changes in settings screen. Then I will come down to payroll process option. I will go ahead and delete the payroll for all the employees. Again I'll select the I'll select all the employees. I'll select this parameter like with income tax, proof wise, etc. And again I am going to process the payroll. So here we have introduced this reprocess option. So wherein if you just click on reprocess after selecting the requisite parameters, so internally first the system will delete the payroll for those employees and according to these parameters, and then it will process the payroll once again. So you need not to do the option manually. First process, then delete, again process, etc. So this reprocess option will save enormous amount of time, and it will be accurate that once you select the requisite option like I want to process the payroll for this category for this month with income tax with proof wise and just click on reprocess, so it will first delete the existing payroll and it will process the same with the same selected parameters. Now let's show you this perform pre-process check, how it will do in the system. So here, if you see, so I'm just switching the screen. So from here, if you see, for example, at the time of configuration of a specific field, so what we did, so we have done some mistakes in the system, right? So here, what we'll do, for example, I'll select the month as December. I will select the year as 2022. I have selected this option called perform pre-process check. Now, once I process or click on process, so first system will internally check these three things. One, this is payroll formulas. Second, we have incorporated incorrect configuration. And third, it will incorporate or it will check the data audits. Say for example, so at the time of configuring a formula, so I have done some mistake. In the first option, it will capture the same. In the second case, so there are some incorrect say configuration. So the configuration, the incorrect configuration will pop up the same. Now if you see, so I have clicked on process. Now it's prompt me, so there is a mistake in payroll formula settings. Now at the time of configuration of the formula, if you see the earned basic formula which is presently showing fixed basic divided by month days multiplied by PD, that is basically the paid days. So here after paid days or PD, I have closed one first bracket, but it's not started. So this is the incorrect syntax or incorrect formula. So it will prompt you on screen while processing the payroll. So it's a remarkable thing which we have incorporated over here. In earlier option, what was happening? So if we have this type of incorrect formulas, so it will show your payroll processing is done in the existing system, but the figures will show as zero. So it will not show any figure. Then you need to call us up. So we will check and we need to come down maybe to our development team, because it might happen in a configuration. So there are 80 90 formulas. So it's not possible to check each and every formula manually. So we need to come down to our development team. So they will run the deep debugger, and from there they can check, see this is not done correctly or this syntax is not okay. So likewise, so you will get this in the screen itself if there is any incorrect formula. So likewise, so it might happen, so there are some duplicate data. So if you see, once you process the payroll, so while uploading the data, due to the say internet connectivity issue, while we are uploading monthly input, so it got crashed, or it's not saved properly. In some time there are some duplicate data which is there in the system. For example, I have not updated the supplementary details, but in the back end some junk data is there, or we have added for few employees some supplementary option, later on we have removed the same but it's there in the database by junk. So while processing the payroll, we in certain cases we got some issues, we got some error messages, your payroll is not processed for so and so reason. So now you need not to come down to the development team or to our support team. So all these things will be prompt here in the while once we select this perform pre-process check. Not only that, it will prompt you the solutions also in case of data duplication, junk data, etc. So system will do the needful by their own, so you need not to come down to us, so it will be done automatically through the system. Basically we have run the pre-process check at our end. So this is basically the option which will help you just before processing of payroll, so whether all the formulas and all the details are properly updated or not. So this is one of the prerequisites or one of the pre-perform checks so which we have incorporated in this smart payroll option. Now we can move to this option, so wherein we can see review your payroll process. So now here, so there are certain companies, so they are doing their payroll processing in different way. In different way means based on their current practice, based on their attendance capturing. Now for an example, so I have one client, so they are capturing their attendance from biometric system. Another client or our valuable user, so they are capturing their attendance manually, means we are updating the loss of pay days manually in the system in monthly input, and then there we are processing the payroll. So in case of taking the attendance from biometric system, so we need to do certain activities, like first we need to say run the time consolidation process, so then we need to do the payroll posting. In certain implementation we need to do leave posting also, so wherein we need to capture the leave taken data by the employee, and that has some impact in the payroll. And lastly, before processing of payroll, so monthly input entry is necessary and it must. So if there is no monthly input, system will not allow you to process the payroll. So here these four options which we have incorporated, this is time consolidation, leave posting, payroll posting and monthly input. So you can go ahead and configure this option prior to processing of the payroll. So here if you see, we have incorporated this screen. This is basically the smart payroll configuration screen. So wherein we can configure company wise, even we can go ahead and configure the same category wise. So for example, so in this company, so I would like to do time consolidation because I am taking the data, means attendance data from my biometric system. So then we usually do the payroll posting, then we update the monthly input, and then we process the payroll. So I've selected these three options and I gonna save this. So likewise, this configuration is saved in my database. Now what will happen if I come down to the smart payroll option once again? So now if you see, so these option will be checked over here by selecting the requisite month. Now if you see where I am in the month of December, and for example after checking the same, I have completed the payroll processing. Right. So once we process the payroll by selecting this option, and I need to select this option called run smart payroll. Right. So here I will select, so for the month of Jan, for example, then I'll select with income tax, then I'll select proof wise, and I will select monthly input where according to my settings, I am going to run monthly input only. And then I'll select this option called I'll process the payroll. So once my payroll processing is done, so then I am going to do this run smart payroll option. So let's process the payroll for all the employees for the month of January. So here it's showing January is completely pending. So I have selected this January and I'll say process. So system will process the payroll in the backend. So the payroll processing tool what we have, it will remain same. So based on the configuration, based on the formula, so it will process the payroll. And once my payroll processing is done, so the presentee and the way, so once we while we process the payroll, so it will do the same option, and it's prompted me the payroll process completed successfully. So then I can select the month of January, and I am going to run this run smart payroll option for the month of Jan itself. Now, if you see the data for the month of January is updated, so it's showing ki January months my gross salary is 8868 at 195, and here is a growth of 1.22% with regards to December. And if you see, I have processed the payroll for the month of Jan. Now December is automatically locked in the system. So this is another inherent feature which we had. So here I can see which particular month is locked, and the locking mechanism is automatic. So once I process the payroll for the month of Feb, January will get locked automatically. Now if you see monthly, and if I go ahead and select the month of January over here, and if I run this option called run smart payroll, so this is the analytics of which you are going to get for each and every month, correct? Now here if you can see for the month of Jan, so system at the top is showing my active employee count is 227. Remember, I have not run any this analytics. So here basically I have run the smart payroll only or the payroll only. So it's showing active employee count. Now it will show the new joiners. So how many employees has joined in this month? So again, so if there is any exit employee, the exit employee is also showing over here. So what I'll do, so I'll just go back and I'll show you some data so which is already there in proper way. So for example, I'll select December 2022 and I'll just run the same once again. So likewise, if you want to see the statistics for any previous month, you can go ahead and do the same also by selecting the month and running the smart payroll option. Now here if you can see active employees 227. So there are two new joiners. So likewise, total my employee count become 227. And here I can see payroll count versus employee count means my active employee count is 227, but I ran the payroll for 198 employees. So it will show this kind of statistics. So if I run any full and final, so it will show the count also. It will show the count for stop payment as well as increment employee count also. For example, so you have done increment of 10 employees in a specific month, it will show the increment data too. Similarly, in the next time we have tried to show the key figures. So this is the set one or phase one, or you can say the version so which we have released as phase one. So we will keep on updating the key data over here. So likewise, presently we are showing employee with PF. So I can see total PF amount of 196 employees is 377,400. So likewise, I can see employee having ESIC, there is only one employee. So we have deducted income tax of 8 employees, and out of that I can see whether the CTC is properly assigned for the employees or not. I will be able to see whether there is any loan count means for this particular month's payroll. If I have deducted the loan, and it will show the count of employees. For example, in this month there is no employee count. For example, I have deducted the loan for 5 employees, so it will show you the data accordingly. Zero attendance count means so I have processed the payroll for 198 employees, but there is one employee, so where is attendance is zero, so there is no attendance input. So from there I can go ahead and check what exactly happened, who is that employee. Similarly, if you see here, so system is showing one information, so where it's showing zero salary deducted for these two employees, and I have added these two employees in the system. B021, this is the name of this employee. Similarly, B0013. So these two employees payroll got processed, but there is no salary information. So like once we add the employee in the system, so we need to update their earning details, deduction details, etc. So for some reason, so these two employees earning details is not updated. So system will prompt you over here. So hey, these two employees are there, so their earning details is not updated properly. So similarly, you will get certain other statistics also. So for example, last month, so we have deducted the PF of 180 employees, but for this month, two employees PF is not deducted. So it will prompt you in this way itself. So likewise, we are going to introduce one by one in the system. So herein, so once you run the payroll and run the smart payroll intelligence option, so it will show you the statistical count like it's showing in the screen. And at the same time, if there is any issue in my payroll, like employee having zero attendance, couple of employees having no salary data, it will prompt you on screen itself. So wherein you need not to take the dump from say data wizard salary register, and you need to check the same in the xls manually. So here system will show you and help you to do the checking by your own and in the system itself, and it will help you to process the payroll in quick manner and as well as in the correct manner. So here it will show you this kind of glimpse also. So month selected December, income tax there are 8 employees up to 227. So active employee count, and this is the deletion or you can say the separation, payroll count versus employee count, and total amount disbursed or distributed. It will show you the amount too. So this is basically the smart payroll, so which we have introduced in the system. So there are certain things. So these statistics I can see for the month of December. Similarly, if I go back and if I select any back period month, it will show that statistics for that particular month also. And in near future, so once you run the run a smart payroll option after processing of payroll, so this data will get generated, it will get saved in the system, and as and when if you wish to see, you can come over here, you can select the month and you can go ahead and check this kind of statistics in the system by prompt. So this is the new payroll processing screen which you can see in system. And my humble request to everyone, so now onwards, so once you process the payroll, you don't use the old screen. So presently the old screen is also there. So if I come down to payroll utility, payroll process option is still there, but I would request you to use this option called smart payroll. So wherein you just select the month. So these options are similar, so what we have in the payroll processing screen. If you wish to process the payroll for a specific category, that is also possible. If you wish to process the payroll for all the employees, that is also there. These parameters are there. While processing the payroll, check this option, and after processing the payroll, just run this smart payroll, and you can go ahead and check what all details or what all information we are providing. And over and above, so if you have any suggestion, or once you start using the same, so if we get any other exceptions, like in the pre process check, so presently 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scenarios we have captured, like duplicate entry, junk entry, wrong configuration of formulas, etc. So in near future, so once we encounter other issues and other discrepancies, so we are going to add the same in the smart payroll option. So day by day it will get increased, or so it will boost up, and we will try to provide you the accurate payroll with one button click and in a one screen. So wherein you will get this pre-process check, and after processing a statistical data, so wherein you can say, oh, I have run the payroll but I have not selected this with income tax option. So sometime it happens, so we have processed the payroll multiple times, but we at the last time we forgot to select this option called with income tax option. So income tax is showing in the system, but their worksheet is not appearing properly. So what was the count for the month of, say for example, any historical month, October, November or January 2022? So you will get the same on screen. For that you need not to run a report. So wherein we requested, where we received different type of requests, have I want to see, so out of say my active employees, how many employees payroll I have actually processed, what is the count of stop payment in a specific month. So here you will be able to see all the statistics in the single screen itself. So this is one of the major release you can say in this quarter. This is smart payroll or payroll intelligence, and I'm sure enough, so once you start using the same gradually, so you are not, we are not going to use your manual process or manual system to cross check or cross verification of payroll data. So I'm confident enough this smart feature will help you to check all the details within the system and on screen. So this is our first topic, so which we have covered, and I'll take you through another option, so which is very relevant based on our this current budget, so which published this week only. So based on that, so we are our development and research team is worked on the same, and we have come up with a functionality over here, or come up with a feature over here. So wherein as per the current budget, so by default your tax regime should be a new one. So later on employee can go ahead and check the same and change the same from new to old. So that is based on the employee settings. But earlier, the a default tax regime was selected, which was old, but according to the new budget, so it should be new. So what we did, so we have come up with this page. So this is basically the income tax regime migration. So it will be there over here. Like if you come down to this option called income tax utility, so there is the option called iTax migrate. So as per the current functionality, HR need to export the existing data, so wherein I can see out of my 500 employees, so who all are having or selected new regime and old regime, we need to change the data manually in the XLS, and then we need to re-upload the same in order to change the tax regime, or we need to ask our employee to change the same from employee self-service portal. So with the help of the screen, so wherein if you click on this option called migrate all employee, so you need to do this from the first day of financial year, next financial year, which is 1st April 2023. So wherein if you click over here, migrate all employee, so then what will happen internally, system will change the tax regime from old to new for all the employees with a single button click. So likewise, so from once we create the new financial year in the system, see all the slabs for new tax regime will get incorporated automatically. And once you go ahead and process the payroll, so by default it will take new one, and it will process the income tax based on the new tax regime. So we need to check whether it will be beneficiary for our employee or not. So this is the second part. But in terms of going ahead, so we are having employee they are having employee count of 3,000, 4,000, even 10,000 also, and more than that. So changing the tax regime manually or export import would be a bit hectic. So for that we have come up this particular functionality. So wherein after creation or doing the year end transfer, financial year end transfer, after processing the payroll or finalizing the payroll for the month of March, you can come over here and click on this button. So it will get generated, and it will change the regime automatically for all the employees. So these are the two things so which we would like to cover in this webinar. So I have tried to showcase these two things according to the data and functionality which we have.